Hi everybody, this video is about a very important subject, which is electromagnetic pulse. Now, the reason why it is so important is because there's so much disinformation on the internet about electromagnetic pulse. Now, electromagnetic pulse takes several different forms. Let's just quickly go over them. They're electric field, magnetic field, electromagnetic radiation, and electrical conduction. Now, again, the reason why this is so important is because Planet X has this, well, here you can see the two tails. This is my drawing. But what you don't really see here is a massive 5 million mile long tail, and the tail is fantastically charged and is huge. Planet X has a north pole and a south pole, and being of course extremely magnetic and extremely dense. The charged tail, the massive charged tail on all the moons and rocks, blows out from the north, from its north pole. And at this point, from my best memory, it's Planet X is rolling slowly as it passes through the ecliptic, and as need be, it adjusts its magnetic, the posture of the corpus of Planet X adjusts according to the magnetic field lines from the sun. So this is a very crude analysis, and this is Zeta talk. So as it rises through the ecliptic, it is slowly rolling, and the North Pole is slowly pointing towards Earth, which means the tail of Planet X, which we don't really see here, but is slowly being oriented towards Earth. So it's tipping towards Earth. And so meanwhile, the tail is wafting about and has caused electromagnetic pulse, EMPs, to down, and jets, and to down and to blow out generators and on Earth. So, but we're going to get into the details shortly. So this is the reason why the EMP pulse discussion is so important, because it's also central to the disinformation that comes from the U.S. government, the various governments around the world, NASA, JPL, all the disinformation sources that are trying to get you to believe that the sun is a threat, and it is not a threat. And the reason why that is right here. This is Earth's magnetic field. Now this is static. This doesn't really exist. Doesn't really look like this. Is just a static image. So that would be a planet with a magnetic field sitting in space that isn't being affected by anything. This is what Earth's magnetic field looks like according to a NASA artist, and you can see the blast of the massive amounts of charged particles and atomic particles and radiation and all the myriad of different kinds of atomic particles that are flying at Earth. And yet this is a NASA's own drawing. Look, there's the magnetic field as a shield. So, and you see here, now that is the protection. This is the protection. This is known as a bow shock, and it's blown away all these. Now I know they talk about the next CME is going to be bigger than the one before, and it's just a line. It's a simple line. It's just not true. Now, let's back up here a little bit. Now, I'm going to give you some examples, but first I'm going to let you watch a little movie here. You see the magnetic field of Earth. Now you notice which way side is short. This is a short side. This is a short side here. I'll pause it. This is the South Pole magnetrons entering Earth's magnetic field. Entering the crust. And as I've said before, the Earth's the center of Earth is a nickel iron solid core, almost the size of the moon, and that is the magnetic engine that drives the Earth's magnetic field. So let's start again here. This is a NASA production, this particular video. So you see the short side being blown away. The magnetic field is being swept back. See how far it goes? Way back. It goes in millions of miles into the outer solar system towards Mars. Now notice where the sun is. The sun is on the short side, blowing back all the magnetic field, but the magnetic field itself remains intact but you have a bow shock here. It's protecting Earth. So now let's look at some evidence. A few years ago we had the Air France 447 flight path. This flight, now what I did in this case here, I did a report on this on my website. What I did is I superimposed the flight path of Air France 447. Now, the actual, June the 1st, 2009. This is my website where I've done reports on these things. I overlaid the flight pan onto the globe. Now, when you see this, this is the mid-Atlantic ridge, and it's really the largest mountain range in the world, and it is highly magnetic, and it's also known as Earth's third magnet. Well, Zeta Talk calls it the Earth's third magnet. Now that's the subject of another video, because this is what's causing all the earthquakes and the volcanoes, and how the rotation of Earth is being interrupted on a twice daily basis at least, and it's causing the shocks to go laterally. But that's another video. But right now we're talking about the magnetics. Now notice where Air France 447, June the 1st, 2009 disappeared. Right over the most magnetic mountain range in the world. Right over it. So what happened to Air France 447 was an EMP between the intense magnetic field over the mid-Atlantic ridge and the charged tail of Planet X. And between the two, there was you get electron flow or some type of charge, and that's what blows out the all the electronics on the jet aircraft, including cell phones. Now, if we look over here at this is Malaysian flight MH370. So what happened to that? I believe this is a Boeing, and regardless, what was happening is that the Malaysian flight MH370 flew into an EMP pulse in progress. So basically, when it flew into it, and it blew out all electronics. And when you look at the flight path after, you look at the total flight path of MH370, it wanders all over the place, and that's because he didn't have any navigational help. He was flying by the seat of his pants, and of course, unfortunately, they all died, and the plane crashed into the sea, and they're still looking for it. But this image gives us a good idea as to what happens. You get here's Planet X, and you have the North Pole of Planet X pointing at Earth, and so you have this magnetic field, which is pooling magnetrons and electrons in the upper atmosphere in various places. And then if you have a corresponding condition in the crust where you have either a magnetic source, such as the magnetic mid-Atlantic ridge, or if you have intense crustal movements in the crust, which we have right now in certain areas. And as it happens, that area, we're not showing it here. This is a different side of this is the Atlantic, the other is the Pacific. This was over the Pacific here. But it is in over the Philippine area, and the plate under the Philippines is under intense pressure, and it's generating this rock compression. This is zeta talk, based on zeta talk. The rock compression compresses the water in the rock to the point where it enables electrons to flow through the rock to the surface of the ground, and then then that causes that creates the completion of the electrical circuit between the pooled electrons and magnetrons in the stratosphere, and it creates a flow, either an energy field, electrical field, or some type of magnetic field where magnetons and electrons are flowing, and that burns out the electronics and the cell phone, which is why you can be sure that practically every person on the board of MH370 had a cell phone, and no calls, because the EMP burned them all out. So this is why we get disinformation like this. Forget global warming. Worry about the magnetosphere. Earth's magnetic field is collapsing, and it could affect the climate and wipe out grids. Well, this is why they come up with this disinformation. It's to try to take the wind out of the sails of people thinking about that some other magnetic influence is going on. They want you to believe that the Earth's magnetic field is collapsing. Well, as I said before, it's the size of the moon, and it's a nickel iron alloy, and it's about as hot as this. It's extremely hot, and it's extremely compressed solid. Now, the last I checked, I don't think that this core is going to go anywhere. How is the magnetic Earth, magnetic field of Earth going to diminish? That is a solid moon-sized magnet in there. Now, if it was leaking out into space and somehow reducing in size, yeah, I could believe that. But we know that ain't the case. This is just disinformation designed to keep people ignorant about what's really causing the EMP pulses. So now let's take a look at another event. This is a political move by the Pentagon. It's called Stargate Mountain. I think it's in Colorado. I don't have that, but you can see this. You can pause the video and you can see this URL here. Pentagon moves COM communication gear back to Cold Era bunker. So they've moved the government communication, military, what have you, into a mountain bunker to protect it. Why would they do that? This is because they're afraid and they know what's coming. They know that Planet X is, the EMPs in Planet X are downing jets and various other electrical installations on the ground. So that's why they're doing this. Now, let's look at the U.S. Navy. This came out about a year ago, and you can just Google this. There's quite a few articles. U.S. Navy returns to navigating by stars amid hacking fears. Well, that's the disinformation. The truth is they're navigating by the stars using sextants. Now, a sextant, for some of you that don't know what a sextant is, it was the original method of navigating. And now a sextant is actually quite a extremely complicated device. It mirrors and filters, but basically what it does is it enables people moving on the surface of the ocean to by the sun's position above the horizon and even the moon and the stars, they can determine their position. So here we have another situation where the U.S. government is protecting itself because they don't want those Navy ships getting blasted by EMPs. So a little bit of news analysis there. So this is why we have the government doing these type of moves. Now, Norway, 2009. Now, this was a real event. A real electromagnetic event from the tail of Planet X. Now, out here you have material that had reached the atmosphere from the tail of Planet X and caused a discharge. So the spiral is a buildup of the charge, building up chemically, and when it reaches the center, it discharges to the ground. And this is an EMP pulse right there. Only in this case you can see it because of the chemicals involved and the blue. Think of the chemical sticks you have. They use them for parties and that kind of thing, and nighttime. You break the stick and it starts a chemical reaction and you get a light stick. That's what they call them. So that's a real life example of a light stick and an EMP pulse. So that is another example of another form of an EMP pulse. So they've got even have electromagnetic pulse bombs that can this is just a drawing, a depiction, and that is here from this article here. But it gives you an idea of the power of the pulse. And you get a cell phone in here, or a computer, or a ham radio. It's toast. So that is a quick little piece I wanted to do on EMP and where it's coming from, which is Planet X, the tail of Planet X, and that's why the government is doing what it's doing, is avoiding loss of their equipment through EMP pulse when they know Planet X is coming. So I hope you found this informative. As Chris Wakefield, Chris Thomas, signing off on the importance of understanding EMP.